Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are moving on with Season 7, Episode 11, Closure, which is our halfway through Season 7 already, Brian. So tell me a little bit about the legacy of Closure.
Well, obviously, this is the big wrap-up to the Samantha thing. We caught the first part last week. It's the second part, two-part story. First part was one that you were actually particularly favourable towards. Which
Yes.
I couldn't have called it going in. Is all I'll say. I was on the fence as to where Graham was going to sit on that one. So I know this one, it breaks away a little bit from last week's kind of serial killer type story. So it does go a little bit more edging towards the conspiracy side and whatnot. So I'm again really not sure how this is going to play for you, but yeah, it should be fun. It's a conclusion to a very long running story, and I think it's very rare in TV shows. I think long running TV shows, when you finally get the answers to something, I think it's very rare that those answers are truly satisfying. You think about something like Lost, which people followed for 5 years, and I rarely find anyone who says that show ended in a satisfying way. And I can think of a dozen other shows where I'm just like, the ending was all right, but it wasn't quite as satisfying as the journey that brought us there. So this has that very tricky kind of, it's in that very tricky position of having to wrap something up that actually fans have been waiting for a long, long time. So let's see whether they actually did it well enough or not.
Yep.
But in terms of this season, 22 episodes, where do you think IMDb users rank it amongst this season? Would it be helpful if I told you what last episode's was?
No, because I think that'll give me a hint.
All right.
6.
6?
Yeah.
6? Oh, yes, of course, in the 22. I was thinking the overall ranking.
No.
Yeah. That's a good guess. It's a close guess.
7.
Because the answer is indeed 6.
Oh, okay.
You got it right, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's higher rated than Sign and Zeet.
Yes, it's two places higher.
Yeah, because that was 8 last week. Right, okay. Yeah. 84.
Ooh. 83.
Oh.
Yeah, just a little out, but yeah.
I think I remember. Was it 90 something, 93 or something? The last episode.
97 was the last.
97.
Was Silent Z. Yeah. So
okay.
It's considerably higher. It's so clearly amongst X-Files fandom, as represented by IMDb at any rate, the second part here is indeed stronger than the first part, which is not something I can often say with X-Files episodes. But of course, the real question is, does Graham agree with that?
We shall find out.
I think I indicated last week where I stand on this two-parter as a whole. But let's dive in. See what happens. So we open up at the gravesite that we found at the end of last week's episode with the FBI digging up corpses. We have Mulder's voiceover talking about the horror of it all, mixed with the hope of what we don't know or can't see, i.e. faith. God is silent but not inactive, he says.
Okay, Brian, can we try a little bit of ESP here? Can you guess what I was thinking in this opening sequence?
Field Where I Died.
Bingo. Bingo. That movie, that episode has scarred me for life. Oh man.
My butt cheeks always clench when an episode starts with a voiceover, but
Yes.
it all depends on what's being said. If what's being said is some elusive kind of train of thought that just sounds like somebody's stream of consciousness, where they've not bothered to fill you in on what it is they're actually talking about, that's when I'd switch off and it just does my head in. Whereas here, thankfully, the voiceover that Mulder is speaking is very relevant to what we've just seen, so we know what he's getting at. We know what he's saying, and it's not overly poetic, I don't feel, in the way that some X-Files voiceovers can annoyingly be. But like I say, there is some nice concepts thrown in there, such as that line by Mulder which says God is silent but not inactive, which, there's a big difference between the two. Just because you can't hear God doesn't mean he isn't doing stuff. So the kids' spirits rise from their graves and are taken by starlight, which obviously was the big kind of thesis that was set up in last week's episode.
Yeah. And all through the episode we'll get this sort of starlight walk-in situation, and I just don't know how I feel about it. Now, the walk-ins is something that's previously appeared in other X-Files episodes, or it's been mentioned previously.
Yeah, it's been mentioned.
What's the whole idea of this again?
The idea is that whatever cosmic superpower is in charge of it all, let's, for argument's sake, just call it God. At various times, will step into the picture when when a child is going to suffer a great deal. He'll step in and take their spirit before that happens, so to speak. That's the general idea behind it. And there's a lot of stories from history where, if you look at martyrs, the Christian martyrs in Rome, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this kind of story came out of that, where a lot of the martyrs went to their deaths really peacefully, which a lot of people just couldn't explain. Why is it when these guys are about to get thrown to the lions or covered in tar or whatever, they had a real peace about it and weren't freaking out? So there's precedence for it in history, I would say, from a theological standpoint. But yeah, so that's the opening, which is kind of a surreal kind of opening, I would say. It's just like it's one where you watch it the first time around, I think, and you go, is what's happening in front of us right now really happening? Are we really seeing this, or is this some kind of poetic imagery to just accompany what Mulder's talking about, or what? But yeah. So we get past the opening credits, and Scully walks in on agents watching Ed Truelove's videos.
Yeah.
His awesome video collection. She tells Mulder he committed his first murder at 19 when he was asked to play Santa at an infant school. He confessed, but not Anne Boleyn or Samantha. Mulder wanted to find her here just so it would be over, and Harold Pillar is here to see them. So basically Mulder confesses here that he was he was hoping to find Samantha there. Just so it'd be over, he'd have his answers, it'd be done, it'd be dusted, all these years of searching would finally be over. And
I am 100% with Mulder. I wish she was found here. Please, let her be found. Let everything be finished.
It is a I mean, I found that quite emotional, just because it makes me think of like the parents of, you think of the Moors murders over here in the UK, and there's still kids out there that were never found, and you just Whenever I think
Parents who
about that,
haven't got the closure.
yeah, those parents who didn't get that closure, and it's just like, and I can put myself into that position of, you know, just wanting a body, which is such a like a horrible thing to think about, so maudlin and like.
It's not. I think if you're a parent, you understand that. It's almost like
Yeah.
a permission to grieve.
Yeah,
Like when everything is unknown, you don't know where your mind is at. But like an answer is an answer. Like when you get that answer, you can be allowed to process and move on.
yeah.
But without that, you're left hanging.
But I do think that comes that's the first place my mind goes to anyway when Mulder says that, and it does kind of raise a lot. It stirs a lot of emotions in me, I would say. But yeah, like Scully says, there's someone called Harold Pillar here to see them, but he'll only speak to Mulder, I think, or something like that. That may be later. So they go to see this guy, Harold Pillar, who is the guy from Silence of the Lambs. You know,
Chilton. Is it Chilton?
Yeah, Chilton, Dr. Chilton.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is a very deliberate piece of casting, given how Silence of the Lambs-esque the previous episode felt. Yeah, so he's here as a police psychic. He's a psychic who's helped police out before on other investigations and whatnot. So he's got a history. He has.
Which I thought this was quite funny because he's you know, gives his card. I've worked with the police, blah blah blah. There's my references in the back, and then when they read out the references, it's like the most obscure like countries. It's not like America. It's like Pakistan, it's Sri Lanka. It's like all these people where spiritual beliefs are quite, you know, prevalent.
Yeah.
But not American countries. Or not cities.
Yeah. It's like, how are we supposed to check these?
Pretty much, yeah.
Anyway, he's here and he wants to help. Scully questions his resume about a train crash. Bodies not found because they were taken by walk-ins. A spiritual intervention, as he calls it, which obviously makes Scully roll her eyes. Scully takes Mulder to one side to convince him this guy is nuts. Mulder says he heard it from Kathy too, but Scully says it's convenient explanation that cannot be unproven without bodies. Just people offering hope, she says. She tells him she's going back to DC. So that's the position of Scully is, yeah, essentially this guy's nuts, and what he offers is just hope to people, which, you know, ain't the worst thing.
No.
You know, it's like there are worse things people could be doing, but the question is, like, do you get a sense from this guy that he's genuine? Is it legit, or is it all blowing smoke?
There's so many. I mean, this is something you've seen in other movies and TV shows, and there is a built-in skepticism to this immediately, and it's hard to take people for face value when you see this because you have that preconception that it's all nonsense.
Yeah. It's and again, because of the casting, this guy played Dr. Chilton, who was like one of the slimiest, untrustworthy guys.
Yeah.
In that film. So yeah, I feel like when I see this guy, I'm hardwired to not trust him because of that. So.
Because it brings me into, it made me think of Man in a Swing, which is a movie from the 70s with Joe Gray, who insinuates himself into a police investigation as professing to be a psychic.
Right. Okay.
Right, and that's what the whole movie is about, and I won't go into where it goes, but it's one of those movies where it flip-flops between, is he helping, is it lies, is he manipulative, is it all going on? And it kind of, when I see this kind of idea within an episode, it takes me to that movie, and that movie gives me a predisposition of how I'm looking at this character. As in, I don't buy it.
Right. Okay. Mulder takes Harold to the gravesite. Harold starts channeling. It's like another kind of one of those things that you see in movies and TV shows where it's like, oh no, they're channeling, doing their stuff. But I find it amusing because it takes me right back to Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose, when Mulder was the skeptic in the room of you remember the stupendous Yappy when he's doing his channeling and he looks at Mulder with a raised eyebrow and he's telling him he doesn't believe and all. Yeah. So it just makes me think of that. So once again, you're already predisposed to think this guy is like nuts. But so he says the visions that parents received before losing their children were warnings by good spirits of what would happen to them if they didn't take them instead. So they turned them into pure energy and took them into the starlight. He says Anne Boleyn was not among the kids in the graves, and she has a connection to Mulder and his sister.
Yeah. And I feel like this information's out there, like from Mulder. Like it's not like and I feel like anybody insinuating themselves into this case is going to know all this.
Yeah.
They're going to know all this information and they're just pushing buttons and they know it's going to make him go in the direction they want because he's already a believer on just about anything imaginary, so or whatever. So I don't believe this guy at all.
Yeah, it's definitely very hard to trust. So we go to Mulder's regression tape. Scully is watching it with a hypno specialist who tells her it's a classic case of someone transferring their guilt and fear during a very real world trauma into something fantastical that can never be proven, which allows him to pursue his sister indefinitely. So in effect, his sister's disappearance gives his life purpose, gives it meaning. The constant pursuit and the fact that he'll never actually find her will mean that purpose will remain throughout his life. Which is kind of some messed up psychology when you think about it. Just the way people kind of just dig holes for themselves in order to just keep themselves going, essentially. But Mulder wakes to a knock at the door at 3 a.m. and it's Harold doing some channeling. Mulder looks doubtful, which is kind of nice to see. It's just like it's nice that Mulder isn't just going along with it hook, line, and sinker. He's like, okay, he's kind of on the fence with it. And so Harold says it's your mother, but then he loses her, and Mulder says he's full of crap. And then is it Harold who says something about April base or
no? As he goes into his room and he's channeling something, he gives Mulder a pen and a bit of paper, and as he goes around the room, he does nothing, and then Mulder's just about to leave, and Harold picks up the paper and says, "Look, you wrote this."
Yes, that's it. Yeah. So Mulder, without realizing, has written April base on piece of paper. So,
but again, did he?
Yeah, because he could have just picked it up, couldn't he? Or he could have written it on there already and gone, see,
and it's all cool. It's all block capitals as well. It's not like handwriting. So
but it's I like this though, because I like that they constantly keep you in that place of doubt about this guy, where it's because actually normally on the X-Files it'd be the other way around. They'd make Mulder believe this dude, and by virtue of that they'd make us believe this dude, and the whole episode would be set up on the basis of this guy is who he says he is, and it's everyone else that doesn't believe. Whereas this time it's kind of a reversal of that, and they're keeping us on the back foot, where it's like, I don't. Is he? Isn't he?
Mm.
It's almost like I want to believe. I want to believe this guy's for real, but I just can't.
Yeah.
Which is an unusual place to be in for the X-Files. So Scully goes to Mulder's mum's house and sees CGB Spender in the bin.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Dun, dun, dun. She calls Mulder and tells him the CGB Spender paper is part of the original investigation into Samantha's abduction. It was CGB Spender who called off the search. Mulder says, "So what? We knew he was involved. He'll never be any help." So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just makes you wonder, why was this little bit of evidence not found earlier on? Because they do mention that she was burning photographs and other things.
Well, because the other people investigating have no clue, no interest or connection to CGB Spender. It's only Mulder and Scully that do.
Yeah, but they'd previously been to that scene, hadn't they?
They had, but they just didn't see it, did they? They see it now. You know, it was Scully who found it. So, yeah. So Mulder and Harold pull up outside April Air Force Base. Mulder says it's nothing, and Harold thinks they should go in, but they're moved on by security. So, just in the distance, this car just approaches, comes out, and one security guard just gets there, like, jog on.
Yeah.
That Air Force Base reminds me of the one from Deep Throat that Mulder climbed over and ended up getting his memory wiped.
But you can almost like in this conversation between Mulder and the psychic, you can see Mulder's like, "Nah, I'm not interested. Load of crap. There is nothing here to be seen." As soon as that guard turns up and says, "Move along," it's like alarm bells going off, going like, "I'm in. I am in. Whatever is in there, I need to see."
It's like a child being told not to do something, isn't it?
It's exactly what it is.
The moment you put that element in there, say, "Don't do this," it's like, oh, now you know that I'm going to do that. Yeah. Right? It's just... CGB Spender comes to see Scully, of all people. It's not often that he goes to see her. He tells her that Samantha is dead. Too much to lose previously by speaking that truth out, but now that it's all gone, he's willing to do so, which is why he's telling her and allowing Mulder to continue hoping was a kindness, because he's such a kind-hearted soul, is our CGB Spender. Yeah, so he just... This is the thing, there's like no one in this episode can be trusted. They're giving all these facts, possibly.
Yeah.
But you can't trust any of it because it's all coming from the mouths of people who are just really untrustworthy. But yeah, I mean, as we know, everything got burnt down in CGB Spender's operations. Last time we saw him was like way back in One Sun when everybody got toasted. The whole syndicate got wiped out. So because of that, can we believe him when he says, well, it's all gone now, so... May as well just tell you. So we're at April Air Force Base at night, and Mulder and Harold return. It's old military housing, and we see palm prints in the concrete outside one of the houses.
Yep.
And there's kids' palm prints, and one of them reads Samantha, and the other reads Jeffrey.
Yeah.
So,
what's the Jeffrey one again?
Jeffrey Spender.
Ah, right. I didn't get that.
Oh, did you not?
I took a note and I was like, "Why Jeffrey?" And then I was, "All right, okay."
Yeah. So it's clearly Cancer Man's son, and obviously Samantha. It's yeah. So Mulder tells Scully that Samantha was raised by CGB Spender on the Air Force Base. Scully says CGB Spender told her she is dead. Why would he lie now? She says. Mulder says Harold led him straight to her prince. And then it's like, oh, he led you?
Yeah.
So he led you all right. Led you down the garden path. Okay. So they go to meet Harold. He's under investigation for murder of his own son and has a history of schizophrenia. He pleads his case and says he just wants to help. So suddenly all his motivations become clear. This is essentially Mulder Mark 1. This is Mulder before Mulder. He's lost his son, and now he's spent his whole life kind of trying to ingratiate himself into cases that might help lead him to wherever his son might be. So they go back to the Air Force base, and Harold gets them together. He wants them to hold hands and do like this more channeling, to which Scully's reaction is like, oh yay, a seance. you can tell she's just not.
Is this the moment where he walks in and he's kind of leading it and he's like, we're all going to have to hold hands?
Yeah.
Oh, what a sentiment. That just made me chuckle.
Yeah, you could see though in Scully that she's just like, oh man, what the hell am I doing out here? These clowns. So there's a child ghost that that takes Mulder by the hand and leads him away. Scully realizes he's gone and finds him. He tells her what he'd just seen, and then finds a book, which turns out to be his sister's diary. So this kid, this Starlight child, leads Mulder to his sister's diary that's hidden in a thing in the wall.
And I found this really boring. Like at this point, I was starting to check out the episode a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't grabbing my attention.
No.
I just don't know what it was, and I found particularly this sequence in the house. I just found it like boring.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Mulder reads it to Scully, so that different scene change. They're in a diner somewhere. Mulder reads it to Scully, and it basically just paints a bleak picture of how she was tested on constantly. She hated them. She remembers a brother, which obviously hits a nerve with Mulder. And then she talks about her plans to run away, how she's going to run away. And then that's when the diary entries stop. They step outside, and Mulder ponders if the Starlight theory is real. And he needs the hope. It's like after reading this, after knowing that his sister was tormented, was experimented on by people, and then it just stops. It's like suddenly the prospect of the Starlight salvation kind of thing seems like very enticing for him, because obviously it offers hope that his sister wasn't. So a sleeping Mulder is visited by his mother. He's there sleeping. His mother shows up as some kind of Starlight thing, and she whispers something into his ear.
Yeah, I did not like that. I didn't like it at all. I don't know what it was. It just kind of put me off a little bit. In fact, with the Starlight people and the kids all the way through it, there was something just jarring about it that I just didn't like. It felt almost heavy-handed at times when it came on. It was just something that kind of, particularly the mother one was probably the most egregious, I would say. I just found it to be, I don't know how to say it. It put me off. I found it was unnecessary, and I feel as if it's leading down a path where I didn't think this episode was kind of going to go, and I don't know if I'm 100% with this journey.
Okay, I will meet you in the middle and say that I think this scene could have played just as well had it been the child version of Samantha.
I can almost excuse I don't like the kind of the way it looks and the kind of effort it has on the episode, but I can understand the children, and I can understand it's the sentiment of the walk-ins and they're all being taken, and that's I may not like it, but I can understand it.
There's something there when it comes to the kids and their innocence, and you can see like, okay, whatever this, whether it's God, whatever, angels stepping in, you can kind of buy that when it comes to the kids, because there's this, the whole notion of innocence there, the innocence of the child, something stolen, and that's why he steps in. But when we get Mulder's mother just also being a part of it, it's like, okay, you had your time, you had a good long life, so
yeah, I mean, no, you're anything but innocent.
yeah. So yeah, I do think that scene would play better if it was the child version of Mulder's sister. So Mulder wakes up at noon to Scully knocking. She's found an old police report of a Jane Doe that was found that matches his sister's description. So they go through further records, and the Jane Doe was exhibiting signs of paranoia, self-inflicted wounds or wounds from tests performed upon her. CGB Spender lied. Shocker. ER nurse who signed her in. So yeah, they get the name of the nurse that signed her in and was there on the night. But was he lying though? In this instance, CGB Spender, was he lying? Because all he said is that she's dead. So if she did a runner and then they didn't catch up with her, they didn't find her or whatever, but she didn't go home or anything like that, then he might assume that she is dead. Because if
he doesn't seem like that, he doesn't seem like a man that assumes anything. Like he could still wonder that maybe she is out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Because it seems like with the reports that you're getting, and even the diary segments, her mind is very fractured. She doesn't even remember her brother too much. He's got brown hair and he teased me. That's the kind of thing she remembers. So he could just think that maybe effectively to everybody else she's dead, but he might not know that for sure. He just wants to kill. He just wants to stop this investigation.
Yeah. So
but again, who he is, if he's telling you stop, she's dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So they go to see Nurse I couldn't pronounce her name. Yeah, Nurse Ratchet. Is that Rabbitus Ray or something? I didn't catch the name. It was just a bit weird. So Harold joins them, and Mulder doesn't go in. He feels like he's about to find out the truth. So Scully goes in, and they speak with her, and she had a vision of Samantha dead, but no one believed her. So very much like in the first part of this two-part,
Amber Lynn and things.
Yeah, we had the family, the parents saw this horrible vision of her. She saw a vision of Samantha dead, but no one believed her. And when some men showed up to take her, she disappeared from a locked room, basically just vanished. Scully turns to see Mulder gone too. So basically that confirms that something nasty was going to happen to her. And if you go off the theory of these, the starlight beings kind of coming and saving them from the pain and of what's going to happen, then that's what happened. Mulder meets his sister out in the field. He returns to basically this scene in which we got the piece of music by Moby playing over the top of it, and he sees his sister. She gives him a hug. I don't know how you feel about that scene, but whenever I watch it, I don't mind saying I do get a bit of an emotional response to it. I like it. I like that it's over. I like that we finally have our answer. Mulder can be satisfied. We're done. It's dusted. And I think the music by Moby helps as well, because that piece of music does have a very ethereal flavour to it.
I will concur. I'm happy that it's over.
Okay. He returns to tell Harold that his son is dead, but Harold cannot accept it, and he leaves.
I think this was an impactful moment for me. I like this.
Yes.
I think the fact that Harold is Mulder, for lack of a better word, he is Mulder.
Yeah.
He is Mulder, and he's on the path where he's not ready to accept this information. He feels that he's still looking for his son, then something greater must have happened, and he's just unwilling to accept it. And I think that is a great parallel to where Mulder is on his journey as well. You know, he's got the closure. He's not happy, but he's happy in a certain way of having an answer, and Harold is just not willing to go there.
Yeah, so it's a really great moment, I think, just having that juxtaposition of where you can be on that journey in both of these characters.
And I think he portrays it brilliantly well as well. There's emotion, there's frustration, there's resilience in there as well, and I think it's within a few facial expressions. It's really well done.
It's the pain of this guy that instantly makes you, because we've spent most of the episode questioning this guy, like he's a quack. He doesn't seem real. What's his motive? What's his agenda? It just feels like he's very untrustworthy. But you get to this moment, and you understand this guy.
So can I ask you a question? That this gentleman Harold, at this point, what do you see about him? What do you think about his psychic abilities? How do you read it?
I think he had an experience like the rest of the parents in this two-parter, where he saw a vision of his son, and then his son went missing. And I think he's been chasing down those visions by other people for the rest of his life. And
the Starlight children, the walk-ins, and all these kids, Mulder is seeing these people throughout this episode, yeah,
and I think he does as well.
And Harold has seen them, and it could be a case of Harold is interpreting these images as something else and assuming that it's psychic abilities.
Yeah.
So he feels that these spirits are leading him on a journey, and it's just misinterpretation of what's in front of him.
Yeah.
So I at this point here, I'm thinking this guy's he's not a psychic, but he is believing that he's a psychic because of what he is seeing, and that's how he's interpreting the information. So, but I do feel like he's probably led by factual information. He knows about Mulder, he knows about his kids, about his sister, and he kind of sees a connection there, which is why he latches on to Mulder, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's a bit of manipulation along his side, but not an almost intentional manipulation.
No. I think everything about this guy is, to a large degree, he's led a sacrificial life. He's sacrificed everything in pursuit of finding his son, and and trying to help other people find their kids or get answers to what's happened to their kids. It's just, again, it's the whole. I say this a lot about movies that deal with psychics or visions of the spiritual kind. Just because somebody sees something doesn't mean they understand what it is. Which is why I always advise people against going to see a psychic. It's not that I don't believe. It's not that I believe they're all fake. It's not that I believe that none of them see anything. The genuine ones do, but just because they see something, or just because they hear something, just because they hear your dead relative telling you this, doesn't mean that what they're hearing is what they think it is. You know what I mean? It's like, if there's a spiritual realm out there, then it stands to reason that whatever's in that spiritual realm knows a heck of a lot more about things than you do. So just because you hear something doesn't mean that what you think you're hearing is what you're hearing. So, but yeah, I do like this moment, and I do feel a real gut punch for Harold in it because of just everything he's given in his life for the pursuit of his son, and that inability to let go and accept the truth. So Harold cannot accept it and he leaves, and then Scully asks Mulder if he's okay, and he says he's free. And then that's it.
Yep.
Done, dusted.
Yeah, finally some closure. I'll dive into this one. I didn't like this as much as Sign and Zeet. I preferred that episode, and the way it ends up, and I think it's probably my expectations. I thought we were going to move into information about the killer, why they were doing what they were doing, and it touches on that, but I expected a more Silence of the Lambs kind of
a constant through line kind of thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't. It's almost like this is what's happened to kids, and this is ramifications of people afterwards. And I get that the Starlight Children, I can understand, but I just don't. I don't like the way it's represented on screen. And I don't. And I've no other reason than I just don't like the look of it. Yeah. His mother is, I find, really a strange decision when she appears as a Starlight child.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it. It's just weird. I am happy to get the closure. I feel like it's a journey for Mulder, and I understand that journey. And I feel like it's very impactful, and we've got to a point where I understand that he is now done with this. He's got his answers, whether they're what he wanted or not. He's got an answer, they can move on. But I'm also, in the back of my mind, I know we're going to move on to the next episode, and there will be no hangover from this monumental decision. Like, it's episodic TV for you. Like, it just probably won't be mentioned again. Like, she's just gone. Which kind of grates on me a little bit. Like, I liked elements of it, and there's just a couple of things that just niggled me. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5.
I think that's a fair score. I don't think it's perfect. My biggest gripe is the Mrs. Mulder thing. I'm fully accepting of this whole notion that they've kind of created here when it's in regards to children. Because of the innocence of a child, I get, that needs to be protected and this, that, and the other. It doesn't really wash with Mrs. Mulder. It's just not that she doesn't deserve to be saved, or that she doesn't. I can't say, but she's an adult. She's a grown-ass woman. She's had a time. She's lived a life, and it didn't really feel to me like she was in a situation like the kids were, where she needed to be rescued, to be saved from some horrible torment in the way that they are. So yeah, for me that loses half a star, I would say, just because it's a simple fix. Just take it out, put Samantha in there instead. But I do like that it closes everything up, and I do think it has quite an emotional kick to it in the right places. So yeah, and it's an episode that the more I've watched it over the years, when I watch it, I tend to, obviously I watch the two-parter together. I watch it as one feature kind of length movie, and it does get me in all the right ways for the most part. So this one I will give a 4.5. I don't think it's quite as good as the first part, just because I think the first part had a lot more intrigue. And a bit like you, when I originally saw this, I did expect it to go a bit more into this. Okay, we've caught the serial killer at the end here. Now let's go into who he is, why he is the way he is, and what's the rest of his link to Samantha.
Yeah.
But it's like, nope, we're done with that. We've got a different angle here. So Yeah, the serial killer guy was essentially just set up for this notion of the Starlight kind of salvation thing, which is fine. It's fine. But yeah, so I'd say a slight drop off from last episode, but not to the degree that I'm not satisfied. Like I said at the start of this episode when we did it, I pointed out there's so many shows that have long running storylines, and when you get to the end of them, it's just not a satisfying ending. I get to the end of this, and when it comes to the whole Samantha abduction thing, we've got our answers. Am I satisfied with those answers? Yeah, I am.
Yeah, okay. So next week we're moving into episode 12, which is X-Cops. Tell me a little bit about this episode, which you absolutely adore and love.
Well, back when I saw this originally, I wasn't that much of a fan, and for whatever reason, like it's become one of those episodes that's adored by fans. Okay. So I think that made me like it even less. But
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like when somebody tells me something's great, I'm like, when I was on the fence about it to begin with, then I'm even more like, no, it's not. But it's been a long time since I've seen it, a long time. So the concept of it is this. I don't know if you ever saw the show Cops.
Yeah, everybody saw that. It was a big thing in the 90s.
Yeah, back in the 90s, it was like roaming cameras with real police officers going to actual situations. It's a crossover with that. So they've done an episode of Cops, but in which Mulder and Scully pop in.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I wasn't that familiar with Cops. But I got it. You know, I understood what they were doing, where it was coming from. I'm not sure I bought into the concept all that well back when it came out. I'm interested to see it again. Let's say that much. See if my opinions change and whatnot. But yeah, that's it. Found footage. It's a found footage movie, but in X-Files style.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I'm curious because this sounds like one of those kind of quirky episodes, which means nothing in the grander scheme of things, but it's just kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Great. Oh, I look forward to that. So join us next week when we'll be talking X-Cops. Hopefully it's something that's a little bit fun, a little bit different. After a kind of serious double parter that we've had, it'll be nice to get to something a little bit lighter, hopefully. Hopefully you'll join us. And if you don't mind liking or rating us on whatever podcast service you listen to us, or on YouTube, a little like and a little comment goes a long way with us. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next time on the X-Files Revisited.